Hello, everyone, and welcome back to today's podcast. This is episode 4 of Vibe and Talk. And before we get started, I just want to say thank you to all my supporters and people that have been tuning in. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about what to do with your life after high school. And I think that's a really relatable topic because most people choose to go to college, and some people decide to just start working right away after high school. And I'm kind of here to explain to you why, there is really no right choice to do because everyone has their own paths and journeys to find. And on today's episode, I have a special guest with me. I've actually known him pretty much as long as I've known Connor. So if you listen to the last podcast, I did mention that I knew Connor for about 10 years. And I've known David for about, what do you say, like 6 to 7 years?
Yeah, probably about 7 years.
But in the beginning years of our friendships, we were never that close until like the very end of high school.
Yeah.
So this is David Tomei. David, thank you for coming.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on. I think it's going to be a good time.
So like I said, we're going to be talking about what it's like to graduate and figure out what to do with your life. So for me personally, I always knew school is the answer, and school is pretty much my path to go to. I didn't think that working a job straight away was for me, just because I know that in the long run, education will get me to wherever I want to be. And so now that I'm reaching the end of my pretty much undergraduate studies, is that what it is, undergraduate?
Yeah, it's like undergrad studies.
Yeah, so I'm going to get a BA in multimedia and a minor in communications. And honestly, if you would have asked me, what do you think I would have done with my life as soon as I graduated high school, I probably would have said something about like computer science. Because I feel like we all wanted to make money and that, computer science is whatever. I think that's a go-to for a lot of people because they don't know much about majors and what you can do at school.
Yeah, for sure. For me, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just kind of always thought like I'd have to do something with band just because that's kind of
where we came from.
Yeah, that's kind of where we came from. It's kind of all we really did in high school. But I knew that like there wasn't I wasn't going to have a successful future in band because that's like super hard. You have to be like a super good musician to like make it into like symphonies that pay a lot of money. And to be honest, I started just not liking band as much. I think I was kind of burnt out on it. So I knew when I was going to school that I didn't really want to do band, but I didn't know what else I wanted to do. I felt really lost. Like I had no idea what I wanted to do, but all I knew was that going to school was like the right thing for me to do.
Right. And the funny thing is about David is that like if you were to meet him now, you would never guess the type of student he was back in high school. David was the guy that gave the teachers a hard time all the time in band. So he actually came from, I guess, like a dynasty of brothers that were known for the same thing, like causing trouble and pretty much giving the band directors a hard time.
Yeah. And
it's kind of funny to hear that you started to finally realize, like, what do I want to do with my life?
Yeah. Well, yeah, for sure. Like my brothers, they were always had crazy stories of them like messing around in band. That's all I really knew, and that's just like, oh, I want to do that too. But I felt like by the time I had like got to high school, like that kind of culture, I'm not really like a culture, but like there was almost no tolerance for that. So I always felt like I was kind of by myself, just being like super crazy, and I just always felt like I was just making a huge fool of myself, but still had fun doing it.
Did you already mention that you knew what you wanted to do with your life?
Yeah, I think right now I do. About like a year and a half ago, I decided that I'd just be a liberal studies major and get a degree in that and then go on to be an elementary school teacher just because of the job that I work and my older brother becoming a teacher pretty recently. I think is just kind of something that I wanted to do. And it took me a while to like realize that. Like I was doing community college for like maybe 2.5 years undeclared. Like I didn't have a major picked, and I finally decided on liberal studies, which kind of sucked because it added like an extra year onto me transferring.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah. Picking liberal studies as my major, like added a year of community college before I could transfer. Because then there was all these new classes that I had to take.
Oh, and meet before you could actually
before I could transfer under. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think it's been worth it. I really enjoy like the classes that I've done that like pertain to it. and I just think it's definitely something that I want to do in the future. So it was almost like a relieving feeling just actually picking a major, but it's been like, it feels even better knowing that like I actually want to do it, you know? Because a lot of people, like, they don't know what they want to do. And I've been in that boat, and it's scary. It's because you know it's coming. Like, you know there's going to be a day that's coming, especially if you're doing school and stuff. It's like you have to, like, have a direction. You have to pick a way to go. And it just sucks if you just feel like nothing makes sense for you and you have no idea what you want to do. So I totally get that.
Did you ever have a thought about not going to school? Ever think to yourself, maybe school isn't for me?
Coming out of high school, I always knew I was going to go to college. I just figured I was going to go straight to Fresno State. I didn't think I was going to community college just because my brothers didn't do that. But yeah, I ended up just going to community college. My first semester was really rough. As you said, like, I was like, if you would have met me back in the day as opposed to now, I'm a lot different of a person, I think. And just like my work ethic and just being a student, I thought the same things I could get away with in high school would work in college.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't. So my first semester of college was really, really rough.
What were your grades like?
I had like an F. Like, I had nothing. I had nothing higher than I had one B, and I think everything else was a C, and I had one F. Like, I think my GPA was like a 1.6, and it was it was really bad. It's just because like, I dug myself into a hole real early, just because I didn't really know what I was doing. Like, I wouldn't turn in work, because when I was in high school, I wouldn't turn in a lot of work just because you can get away with that. And I was just being lazy, and I just eventually like realized like that's not going to cut it. But by the time the semester was over, like, fortunately I was able to end up passing all but one of my classes that first semester, but like that still like threw me off. Like, I felt the impact of that for like years, just because my GPA was so low, and it has to be like at a certain limit if you want to end up transferring. So it always kind of sucked because I always had that F on my transcript.
Oh, and yeah, if you guys don't know, grades really do matter if you're going to a community college. So pretty much, you go to community college. So if you decide to go to community college, you're pretty much going because of a couple of reasons. Either it's cheaper, or for me personally, I chose to go to community college because I didn't think going to a 4-year university would help me out, because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I wasn't that serious about school at that time. So imagine me taking like 14 units when I'm like 17, 18 years old. I don't think I would have survived. Actually, grades in general when you first start out are really important, because your GPA matters to an extent.
Yeah.
So like if you get that F on your transcript, dude, that thing's there for a while, unless you retake that class, and that's wasting more time.
Yeah. And for me, like, since my GPA was so low, I got put on academic probation.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, which is really nothing. They just make you like, they just made me go through some presentation about like,
why you should pass your classes,
like work, yeah, like just class, like how to keep up with it and just all that. But by that time, I was pretty much like already kind of a different student, because I didn't know I was even on academic probation until I tried registering for classes. Like,
and it said you couldn't?
Yeah, and so like it was kind of a surprise, and it sucked. But honestly, for me, I felt like it was a pretty like humbling experience, because like I was just embarrassed that I had even stooped that low. Like, I felt like such an idiot.
What were your grades like in high school?
They were okay. I never took any AP classes, so if it was like a class that I actually like tried in, I'd get an A, probably an A or like a high B. But if it was a class I didn't care in, like I'd get like a C. I never got a D or an F, just because like I knew the expectations that like my parents had for me, and I didn't want to like go any lower than that. But like there would be periods of time where I'd get like pretty distracted, like in high school, like especially like during like the marching band season and stuff.
Oh, because all you would really care about, for us at least, was band. So
Yeah.
you would wait all day, go through all your like BS classes, and wait till you got to like 7th period band.
Yeah, and then after school practice and all that, because it just takes up a lot of time. So just during like those times, like I remember like my junior year, I think I was taking like chemistry and like whatever like one of the math classes is.
Like geometry or like
it's like the one after geometry. I don't know what it
Like
was.
stats, wasn't it?
I think it was algebra 2.
Algebra 2.
But I just remember, like, during marching band season, like, I didn't care about school. Like, I was just only focused on marching band, which sounds so lame right now. But I mean, like that's all I was focused on. So in those classes, like, I wasn't doing any of the work. So my grades, like, got super low. But then, like, it being high school, teachers give you hella second chances, like, so many of them. And so I was able to end up passing all my classes. But yeah, my grades were okay. I never had straight A's. I didn't get straight A's in school until my last semester at community college.
Oh,
So,
really? Me
yeah.
too. That was really weird because for me, the transition was the transition hard for you going to high school to community? Because I remember
Absolutely, 100%.
for me, it was like really different because you really didn't go to school for that much or that long of the day. You don't go for 8 hours. You go for maybe like
some days like maybe 50 minutes.
Yeah, and some days like 3 hours,
At
and then after you go home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't have anything else to do. You literally just go home, and if you have a job, you go to work right after.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the really most rewarding but most difficult feeling ever because, you know, you throughout your whole like school career, pretty much from like K to 12, you're at school no matter what from 8 to 2, 8 to 3.
Yeah. And especially if you have like after school stuff, you're there sometimes until like
9
o'clock.
Yeah, like we were
you're there all day.
And so when you give up those responsibilities, I guess, and you can choose your schedule, and you pretty much go to school for like sometimes you can go from 8 to 11. Then you come home, and then you go to work, and then after work you come and do homework. It's a very different schedule from what it was like in high school.
For me, I think I just had so much freedom as like as opposed to just, you know, like you said, like being at school from basically the morning to night all day. And then end up being like, oh, I'm gonna go to school for an hour. Well, I'm not gonna go do homework when I get home. You know, I'm gonna go home and
play games,
play games, relax, watch TV, and then I'm gonna go to work. Yeah, exactly. And then I would go to work and then get tired from being at work, and then just be like, oh, well, I don't want to do my homework. Screw that, you know. And that's kind of like that mentality and that just sort of way of going about school at the beginning is kind of what like got me off to a rough start.
So let's talk about your work, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So you.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. So you started working for an after-school program, right?
Yeah.
You didn't start working for that program right after high school, did you? Did you do a semester of college? Then you were like, I should get a job? Or
no. I applied because I did like that whole tour. I did tour before.
Oh, that's right.
Like the summer before my first year of community college. So I got back and literally like the next day I started school. Like I was gone and then I came back and the next day I started community college. And so I applied for the job that I am still doing now. I applied for that probably like a week after I got back. And then you know how like the whole process works.
It takes a while.
They have to do a background check. You have to get shots. You have to get fingerprinted and all that. So that whole process took like a couple weeks. So I started working at my job at around like September.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It wasn't the whole. So pretty much I only had like 3 weeks of just going to only school.
How was that for you to start finally working at a place where you can actually make money?
It was weird because I never had a job in high school. It was just like, I don't want to say it was like eye-opening because I didn't really like learn anything. I just thought it was weird that like, it was weird for me to say like, oh, I have a job. Like, oh, I have to go to work. You know,
Is it
like,
weird to have to set time away
yeah,
to go to work?
Yeah, it was just weird to be like, oh, like this is a place I have to be.
Yeah, from like 2 to 6.
Yeah,
I have to be
I
here.
have to be there. Like
Yeah.
there's no, but it's like, it's not like school where like, if I don't want to go, I can skip. Like
Yeah.
I have to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, yeah.
So when your first check came in, how did it feel?
It was amazing. I think my first check was like $500.
There you go.
And at that time I was like, oh my God, this is the most money I've ever had.
Yeah.
Like at once ever. Cause in high school I didn't have a job, obviously. And like, I would really only ask my parents for money to like get food.
If we were going to go out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I never really had money. Like the only money I'd ever have would be like if I like saved it for a game, you know? And
right.
And those
right.
are so expensive. You'd blow all your money. And then, but so yeah, it was an amazing like experience to be like oh, like I have all this money now, and like you felt so rich, but now that's like chump change. It's like nothing.
And that's what I kind of want to segue into as well. So we did talk a lot about school and how me and you're both going. So it's kind of a little biased, for us to talk about going to school. And then the reason why I bring this up is because a lot of people choose not to go to school. Mm-hmm. So, like all your high school friends, you look at them and you're like, oh, I think we're all going to graduate together. That's not the case at all.
Yeah.
Because everyone has their own path. And everyone has their different majors. And other things happen too. So people take time off of school. Mm-hmm. And, it's not like high school where everyone graduates the same year.
Yeah,
Everything's always on your own time. And so one thing that I've noticed a lot of people do is they'll do a semester of community college. And if they get FAFSA, a lot of people got FAFSA. So usually the people that went to college stayed for that first check. And then after that, they realized school isn't for me. I'm just going to leave. And so they leave and then they start doing like a full-time job. And I've noticed a lot of people that, I went to community college with they didn't even make it all the way to like their associates.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't think that's even a bad thing.
No, it's not. And like you said, everyone has their own path, their own journey. And I am a believer of that. I don't think school is for everyone. And I don't think it's a bad thing if they don't go to school, I just think for me, school was the right thing to do. It was the right decision. It was the right path, I guess you could say. But yeah, there definitely is like a stigma with people that don't go to school, which, I mean, I kind of understand. But I mean, school is expensive.
Oh, yeah, dude. That's one thing they don't tell you about in high school is how expensive school is. Because in high school, you don't really have a concept of money.
Yeah. Well, even for community college, too, like they always say like that's like a way cheaper option. And it is.
Compared to what you're paying at a
But yeah, I mean, it's
university.
still like if you don't get any financial aid, because I didn't get any financial aid in community college, it's still like $1,000 a semester when you add up all the costs of books and all the units. Like it's still pricey.
Yeah, and also think about it. If you were to do a part-time job, you know how you said you made $500?
Yeah.
And his after-school program doesn't pay bi-weekly. It's salary. Mm-hmm. So imagine working a whole month and you only get $500. And, you have tuition. You also have things that you want to buy. Mm-hmm. Maybe your parents are like, hey, you're in college now. You have a job. Pay your own phone bill.
That's what I have to pay my own phone bill.
Yeah, so then they give you all these responsibilities and you're like, holy crap, like, I can't cough up $1,000 for school, for food, for gas, and all this. And that's why I feel like a lot of people choose not to go to school anymore because they're thinking, maybe if I just work, I can survive. And then when I keep working, I can move around jobs and hopefully stick one where, I work my way up the chain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're definitely right about that.
Actually, one thing that I've noticed is that, people that have been successful, that haven't gone to school, they do make a lot of money now.
Yeah.
But I think I've already talked to you about this, and I said that, that money is very nice now, but I feel like with our degrees, we can go a lot further.
Yeah, and it's just, a lot of it's relative to where you are in life. So yeah, like they're super rich now because all they do, like they work full time.
All they do is work, yeah.
But like, you fast forward, I don't know, 10, 15 years, they're probably going to be making the same amount of money, whereas people that go to school are going to make more than likely they're going to make a lot more. That's just typically the case.
And I also feel like you end up doing what you like.
Yeah. Well, not everyone does. A lot of people, I feel like, end up like
just
working
doing it for
at
the
jobs
money
that they hate.
Yeah.
But that's probably where the stigma comes in about people that don't go to school, because like they're not like you can only go so far,
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of it.
So I want to touch on another stigma that I've heard recently a lot, is that is community college a downgrade from going to like a CSU or maybe even a UC? Do you feel like it was a bad experience for you?
No, I don't think it was a downgrade. If anything, I feel like by the time I showed up to Fresno State, I was like prepared. Like I know, like I kind of knew what to expect.
Me too.
And like I said, I had a horrible first semester like of community college, and I'm kind of glad that like I only had to pay like $800 to have a bad semester rather than paying $3,000 and still having a bad semester.
It is such a huge difference, because I remember when I first started going to community college, the parking passes were only I think $15.
Yeah, they were $15. By the time I left community college,
it was like 30, wasn't it?
They were like, yeah, they were getting close to like 40, I think.
And at Fresno State, we pay, I think, 97 a semester.
Yeah.
So then year round, it's 186, and that's honestly not even that bad. If you
Yeah, it's really not.
I have a friend that goes to Sac State, and she says she pays almost, I think, like $200 to park her car,
That's ridiculous.
and that's like crazy.
And not to
because-
mention the parking already sucks anyway.
Oh, the parking's horrible, yeah. But one thing I've learned about parking is that
It's a game.
it is a game, and it's very aggressive. It can
Oh,
get
yeah.
aggressive sometimes. And usually the only way that I find parking is that like I just go to school at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Like I'm at school at 8 a.m. because if you come at any time, because I feel like a lot of people like to take classes at 10, 11 because they want to sleep in, but in reality, like there's no way you can sleeping in if you're trying to get parking.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can sleep in a little bit, but you're still gonna. I don't know. I think just for me, it was always like the anxiety of finding a parking spot and getting to class on time just wasn't worth it. So I'd always get there early too.
You know what was really funny? So I took classes at both Community and Fresno City. I think you did too, huh?
I did too.
Yeah. So I never had problem finding parking at Community.
Never.
Not once.
But Fresno City is a zoo.
Fresno City is a zoo, yes.
Crazy.
But I remember I had class at like 9:30. I'm not even joking. I would leave the house by like 9:10. And I live all the way in Clovis, and Fresno City is deep in like downtown.
Yeah.
And somehow, even if there wasn't parking there, I'd park in the neighborhoods.
Yeah, that's a big mistake.
Big mistake, but like somehow I always made it to class. See, I feel like community college is just an extension of high school. Did you feel like that way too?
I think at first I did feel like that, but I think after being like at Fresno State, like this was like my first semester there, and like taking classes there, honestly, like it didn't feel that much different to me. Like the
Really?
campus was just bigger, but I felt like the classes I was in and just like what I was getting out of it just felt the same to me. I don't know. Maybe,
You know why I feel like
maybe
you
I
say
just
that?
like don't notice that enough. I don't know.
I feel like you say that because of Are you a child development? No, you're a liberal studies.
I'm a
right?
liberal studies major, yeah.
So because I think liberal studies is you take a lot of English, literature. You have to take like math classes too.
Yeah, we take like I think like a couple of them. Like
I think that's why because
it's just like more of the same.
Yeah, your whole GE is just like an extension of high school. But the classes you take. You know
Yeah,
what
I mean, well, liberal studies is just like a basic like over like view of just like kind of all the
School,
subjects.
yeah.
Yeah, like all
And
like the
so-
main ones.
Yeah, for me, my experience was different because mine is I'm an MCJ major. So what that is that's media, communication, and journalism. So we have like 5 different branches. There's like PR, print journalism, multimedia, which is what I am. And I think I'm missing like one or two more, but I just can't remember. Oh, broadcasting. So like news.
Yeah,
And I think we're such a tight knit community that everyone knows each other, and we're all very very alike. And you know, a lot of the classes that we have are all the same people, and we kind of vibe together because we're all in the same little
Vibing,
boat. Vibing, talking. You know what I mean?
I'm freaking vibing right now. You know, honestly, I think if anything felt like an extension of high school, it was probably Clovis Community, because I started like community college at Fresno City, and I felt like most people didn't. I feel like most people went to Clovis Community, and I didn't start going to Clovis Community until about like a year and a half like into college. And like the first thing that hit me was like the building literally felt like a high school building, because it's like just 2 big buildings. It feels like high school. And then like I would run into so many people that I went to high school with. Like there's definitely a difference between the 2 campuses.
Wait, so I thought you actually went to Fresno City first?
I went to Fresno City first.
What made you decide that?
In case I wanted to do any music, they offered music stuff.
Oh, that's right,
That's
because
why.
Clovis Community was fairly new.
Well, yeah, and they don't offer any of that. Like they don't have like any bands you could
Like jazz
play in.
band, like an
Yeah.
actual like orchestral band.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's one thing that probably why I don't feel that way is because I went to Clovis Community first.
Okay.
Then I did about a year and a half, and then
So we're pretty much like opposite then.
yeah. So then
Okay.
I remember I had a semester where I had both classes at City and at Clovis Community. So I would go back and forth between like whatever break I had. Mm-hmm. So then yeah, there was a huge difference in Clovis Community and Fresno City. So pretty much if you're listening to this and you are graduating high school, this is going to be some like really good advice for you. So pretty much the 2 campuses are very, very different. So Fresno City is a lot bigger
Yeah.
and it's a lot older, but not old in the sense of like it's a bad place to be.
Yeah.
I just think that like a lot of the people there, I feel like
Say it.
they're not Clovis people. It's a lot of Fresno
Nope,
people.
they're not.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to sound like super racist or anything, but I think
No, it's not
obviously
racist.
just like
There's definitely a difference.
it's obvious. It's obviously the area. You know what I mean? So a lot of people that went to Clovis Community College were from like the 5 districts that were here, or the 5 high schools that were here. And Fresno City just had like all the other Fresno schools.
People from Reedley and like all that too.
Yeah.
Well, it's not Reedley. That's more so Fresno State.
Yeah, because actually Reedley has their own college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like people like in like the surrounding area, I feel like mainly would go to Fresno City.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely Fresno City was a lot bigger. It was just in size and like the amount of students as well. And I think a better way to say what you were trying to say is it's a lot more diverse.
Yeah, a lot more diverse
than Clovis Community is.
I think, you know what's funny though? When I went to Fresno City, it felt like a lot of the people that were there were still in high school. Like, they looked super young to me.
At Fresno City?
Yeah.
Not Clovis Community?
No, Clovis Community just looked like...
See, I felt the way about Clovis Community.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I felt like a lot of people, like, when I was at when I was at Fresno City, like, looked hella old. And I was like, oh, like, I don't want to look or be that old and still be going to community college. You know?
Oh, no, yeah. Fresno City, I did notice that there were a lot more, older people, but I felt like people at Fresno City acted a lot less mature than people at Clovis Community.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement from because that's kind of what I experienced too. And obviously we're not saying that everyone there is like that. I'm just saying that's kind of like what we've noticed.
Yeah, definitely. So what is it exactly you want to do with your life right now?
As of right now, I want to graduate with a liberal studies degree and then go get my teaching credential. I want to be an elementary school teacher. As of right now, probably like 6th grade, upper grade level, 4 through 6, probably, because I feel like I've doing the after school program I work for. I feel like I've always connected better with the older kids. So yeah, as of right now, it's what I want to do. But I know that I don't want to be a teacher forever. Like, I know that's where I want to start, but I don't know if I don't know if I could do that, honestly.
For the rest of your life? Yeah.
I don't think I could do it just because, dude, like, kids like that, just kids in general are so draining.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because I also work at the same after-school program as you, and before that, I used to work at a sushi bar. And so I would come home physically tired.
Yeah.
But for this job, I come home mentally tired.
Absolutely.
It's training. Like, you come home and even though I do get home at like 6:30 compared to like my old job, which was like food, so I'd get home around like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
I felt like so tired when I, like,
you
the
want to
first
just
couple
knock
weeks.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And like I didn't even want to do homework because I used too much of my mind at work because it's a lot of juggling.
Yeah. And that's something that I felt like, especially when I first started, it was like something I had to change. It was like, you have to power through that. That's just kind of always felt. But like, what about you? What do you want to do like right now?
So pretty much after I get my bachelor's, I do want to start working for an ad agency. Mm-hmm. So hopefully locally, I can get into one of those and start making commercials, maybe even handling some social media accounts, doing pretty much like a whole media package for like a company.
Okay. I
think that's something I want to do. And actually, I haven't told you this, but I might be moving.
Really? Where?
To Sacramento.
Okay.
Because Kalia is actually thinking about doing her master's up in Sac
State up there?
Yeah.
Nice.
And so, I was thinking that here in the Valley, there is opportunity, but you have to dig so hard to find it.
Yeah.
And not that there's like a lot of competition. I just feel like, the Valley is the Valley. I can't really do much in the Valley, especially with my degree. And so I was thinking that,
the opportunity is a lot slimmer is what you're saying.
Yeah, way slimmer. And I really do want to move out and kind of experience that. But for some reason, I feel like I'm going to end up back in Fresno somehow.
That's usually how it goes. Yeah. I mean,
like, can you imagine if I move out for like 10 years and all of a sudden, like, oh, I'm back?
Pride's back.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's pretty cool though. I didn't know about that.
Yeah. It's in the works right now. We're just talking about it because we were thinking that.
Do you have like family up there you would stay with, or are you just getting your own place up there?
We would have to get our own place. So
okay. So you'd have to get you'd have to get a job up there first then, huh?
Yeah. So a lot of it's gonna be like taking big risks and just being like applying.
And no risk it, no biscuit.
That's it. Was also one thing that life after high school has taught me is that you kind of have to take risk.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I feel like I haven't had to be like, not like huge risk, but you have to bet on yourself.
Yes.
You have to believe in
You have to have
yourself.
confidence in yourself.
Yeah. That's something I've noticed. That's something I've kind of used to motivate myself is like for me, like you have to just be all in on what you're doing. You have to be all in on yourself. Because I mean, you can kind of be like shy about doing something, but like unless you fully believe that you're going to be successful doing it, I don't think you should even try. And that's kind of how I've always like not how I've always thought, but more recently that's kind of what my mindset has been. So, yeah, I mean, you got to put yourself out there, but you got to also like be your number one fan as well.
Oh, exactly. Yep. Yep. I think that's like the best way to put it is be your own number one fan, because there's gonna be a lot of people that say you shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that, please don't do that.
It's kind of crazy though. People will doubt you, and I don't like get that. Like you tell people like, "Oh, I want to do this," and then like you'll hear like people are talking about it like behind your back or whatever.
Like,
it's
can
just
you
like,
believe that so and so's
Yeah.
wanting to do this?
yeah, it's just I don't understand that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, especially when it comes to your career and what you're studying. I think the idea of I don't know, criticizing what someone likes is kind of hard.
Yeah, and, I've been fortunate enough to have I have a great relationship with my parents, and they've been really supportive of me. But I feel like a lot of people have had to struggle with like they like have an idea of what they want to do, but they're kind of afraid to actually do it because like they know they're gonna get backlash and criticism from their parents, and that's like what hurts the most.
Yeah.
So I've been fortunate enough to like not have to deal with that and like to be confident because I know like what I do, my parents are gonna support it.
So I want to know, David, after all your experiences through school and kind of figuring out what you want to do, what is one piece of advice you would give yourself or someone else that is freshly new to graduating high school?
I think just don't worry about it at all. Like, because especially when you first start with like college, like a lot of what you have to do is just general ed kind of stuff. Don't worry, you can change your major anytime. Just focus on actually just transitioning into college and kind of adjusting your life to like the kind of workload you're going to get, maybe getting a job. I think focus on actually transitioning into like kind of being like a mini adult, transition into doing that, and then worry about the direction you want to take your life. Like basically what I'm saying is set a foundation for yourself, like learn who you are as a student, get a job if you want, just like it's basically essentially just being ready. I don't know. I'm not explaining it well enough, but okay. Let me try to explain it like this. What I would say is, don't worry about your major or anything you're doing like that if you're gonna do school. Just worry about transitioning to just the college life and the kind of workload you get, and maybe if you have a job too, and just being able to balance your time well. I think if you can do that, then you'll be successful moving forward. And if you're not going to do a job, if you're not going to go to school, then just get a job that you enjoy. Don't get a job that you hate, because then you're going to hate your life, because that's all you're going to do.
One thing I would say is whether you choose not to go to school is do not stay stagnant, because that's one thing I've noticed is that if you're in a predicament where like you're working a job and you don't like it, don't stay in that job.
Yeah, keep your options open.
Yeah, that's one thing I would say too. Even with colleges too. So, maybe if you're going to your local community college, don't just settle to go to your local university. Mm-hmm. Apply out of town, open those options, and add some change to your life. And I think one piece of advice I would also give is if you're in college and you're feeling like you have no idea what you want to do, maybe not even if you were in college, I think that if you're not able to find happiness in your life, I think something needs to change in your daily routine.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I was also in that predicament where I have no idea what I wanted to do. And so, I wasn't happy doing, so like at first I was an art major. It's like a drawing art major.
Really?
And I really didn't like it. You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
I was a graphic design major.
Interesting, because like you don't do any graphic design.
Dude, and you know me, right? I am horrible at drawing. My drawings are really bad. Even if I tried, they're horrible. And so I remember sitting in class and I was like, what the hell is this? She gave us a whole list, and it was like about $100 worth of art equipment.
Yeah.
You know when you see those students walk to class and you have like those little like lunch pail bucket
Yeah, yeah, I know
things?
exactly
That
what
was
you're
me.
talking about. You had one of those?
I had one of those.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I had like 4 different pencils, and none of them had erasers.
Oh, jeez.
So they were real like art pencils, and I had like like a blender. I had all that. I even had like a big like canvas, and I carried it to school. And I remember I sat in class and I was watching a video, and I was like, I don't want to do art. I want to make videos.
Yeah.
And then I remember telling the teacher, like I got up and I said, hey, like I really do want to try this graphic design thing because I don't want to quit.
Yeah.
But like when you were showing that film, I wasn't focusing on the
art.
The art. I was focusing on how the video is produced and like
the presentation of it.
Yeah, and counting like how many cuts were in it. How could you possibly do this? And she pretty much told me like, hey, well, we don't offer like a film or thing in over here, so but we do have something similar to like film at Fresno City. So I think you should talk to a counselor about that. And if it wasn't for that day and I realized I didn't want to do art, I probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of hit me out of nowhere that I wanted to like be a teacher. I'm like and go into liberal studies. I remember I was working like the summer program for the thing that we worked for, and we part of it is we take them to a pool, and I literally remember just sitting in the pool, just chilling there, and being like, I think I want to go into liberal studies, and then that's kind of what started it all.
You know what's funny? Because I also have I think it's a liberal studies. It is a liberal studies associates.
Uh-huh.
And I was thinking because when I first started the job, I was like, do I want to be a teacher?
Yeah.
Like I love these kids, and like these kids have like really good stories, and I really want to make an impact on these kids.
Yeah.
And then I ran into this week where all the kids were just rude,
being horrible,
and I was just like, this is insane. They're all screaming.
Yeah.
They're all making a mess. They're all killing each other. I don't want to be a teacher anymore. And that's when I realized, you know what? I don't want to be a teacher. I'm not going to take is it the CBEST?
Yeah.
I don't want to take that. Mm-hmm. I don't want to take any of that. I'm not going to be a teacher.
Yeah.
That's what I realized. And I was like, thank goodness that I was able to realize this before, like,
what
if I dropped my major, or not dropped my major, but, I got my degree and I didn't pursue anything in that and I wanted to be a teacher. Could you imagine how horrible that'd be to realize I don't want to do things? I don't want to do this anymore?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have to end up facing that reality.
So if you can take 2 things away from this podcast, it is to have confidence in yourself and also change up your daily routine, change up your life. I think that's the beauty of going to college or graduating high school, is that you have full control of your life after that.
Yeah, just don't be afraid to put yourself out there and just make sure that you believe in yourself. Like, don't doubt yourself at all.
Yeah. And also, don't cling to the past. I don't know what that even means.
I don't know what that means either.
All right, man. We're going to end the podcast now. Thank you, David, for coming on.
Hey, man, it was fun. I had a great time.
Thanks. See ya.
Yeah.